very first job I got in a newspaper was that newspaper thought pop music was going to become something. So they sent me down to a place called Abbey Road, which is a famous recording studio, and I walked in there and there were the Beatles singing Please Please Me. That was the very first job I did. They published the picture 3 months later when the record came out. The newspaper sold out, and they said, who else do you think is going to be big? And I'd been watching a group called the Rolling Stones. They were playing down in a little club in Richmond. So I said, oh, the Rolling Stones. So I went and photographed them, and they were horrified. They thought they were 5 prehistoric monsters. Anyway, they published the pictures when their record came out. That sold out. So the paper were right in predicting pop was going to take over. But these were the first pop pictures ever in a newspaper. And then ever since they've been in the newspaper. We used to go to a club called the Ad Lib Club. You know, we used to sit there, the Beatles, the Stones and me and other people from the 60s. And we used to talk about what job we were going to get when all this was over, because we're all convinced nothing could happen so good where we were paid to do what we wanted to do without paying for it later. We thought we'd have to go back and do jobs like working in a bank or working in a clothes shop. And we used to piss ourselves laughing at the thought of mixing in at 40. And look at it now, still going. There's nobody really inspired me photographically except maybe Eugene Smith, because I took a liking to his work. I mean, I like other guys' work, but it doesn't mean a lot to me, photography, you know, and cameras don't mean a damn thing to me. I mean, all these guys who go mad over a camera. We're now on the way to Great Cumberland Place, where we have the office, and you can see the way the whole thing works. Bardo and Shrimpton, Faye Dunaway, Shrimpton, Audrey Hepburn, Amy Winehouse, Elton John.
One of the exciting things about Terry's archive is that historically it's very candid, it's very honest, it has an intimacy that cannot be captured by today's photographers. Because when Terry started taking photographs in the 60s, the photographers were as important as the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. Because the photographers were important, they were allowed access all areas. Nobody tried to control them. Nobody tried to control Terry and tell him what to do with which picture. That photograph of Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones eating his breakfast in the canteen, it might be possible today, but only if Brian Jones and his management decided they felt the picture was attractive or acceptable. As we often say between ourselves, when Terry started out, the Rolling Stones were a band. Today they're a brand. Because they're a brand, they're marketing people, manage photographers.
Charlie rang my guy in the office and said, would I like to do this show? And I'm a fan of this restaurant and the chefs, that I thought it'd be really good to try a show in a restaurant, see what happens.
Today we're in Maze, a Michelin star Gordon Ramsay restaurant, and they have been kind enough to partner with the Space for Art and join us celebrating the work of iconic British photographer Terry O'Neill.
Yesterday all artworks were delivered and installed through a Space for Art, so the restaurant has nothing to do with that. We are handling everything, and today we came in with print material for the artwork and ready for the event.
Photographer Terry O'Neill loves to come to his exhibitions and meet the public because he's a modest and a shy man and is always surprised at how much people appreciate his work and want to know the stories behind his work.
what's amazing about having an exhibition in a restaurant like this is that you get the best of all worlds. You get to see amazing photographs whilst enjoying amazing cocktails and fabulous food. So what could be a better experience than combining them all together?
It's a different atmosphere. It's a bit of a party going on. There's food, there's drink. Everybody's having a nice time, and you get to look at some great art. So it's just a different vibe. Really good for a slightly younger crowd.
I think that it's a great event. We had about 100 that we were expecting, and about 200 showed up. So it's been a great event so far.
Very happy with this evening. We've got a great crowd from art collectors, art dealers, gallerists, editors of fashion magazines.
Good news, good news. We just sold 3 of the portrait behind me. So it's proof the concept is working. We're selling work right here at the event.
I've really enjoyed myself. It's really nice talking to people about the world that you work in and tell them, you know, because they're always interested in what I've done in my life and all that. So it's quite complimentary to me, really, anyway. Anyway, I hope you've had a good time too.